Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at Gutter Bowl for Blood Bowl from Games Workshop. So first of all I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us an early free review copy to check out on the site. So yeah, this is a bit of an unexpected release that was only announced a couple of weeks ago. Gutter Bowl, an expansion for Blood Bowl that essentially lets you play amateur Blood Bowl matches that just take place in like the street or in the sewers, which is really cool. So we're going to be able to look at that set, seeing what comes in it, having a look at the rules and all the goodies that you get in the box. And also out for pre-order today are two new Blood Bowl teams. Now I say new, these are the Underworlds Denizens and the Old World Alliance, each of which are made up of old kits. So for example with the Old World Alliance you've got the humans, dwarfs and halflings, and with the Underworld Denizens the goblins and the skaven. So we'll be having a quick look at those at the end of the video and seeing what's in there too. But the main focus is going to be Gutter Bowl. So this looks really cool, and I'm very tempted to start a little Gutter Bowl league. So yeah, like I said back at the start, this is essentially a kind of supplemental expansion for Blood Bowl. You do need the Blood Bowl rules in order to play this, but you don't necessarily need any dugouts or the pitch or anything, because you all get them in the box as well. It's essentially a amateur 7-a-side Blood Bowl game. So, you know, jumpers for goalposts, if you want to say. Yeah, really interesting. It's got quite a few rule variants that we'll see. Stuff like there isn't any referees, and obviously the kind of the sides of the pitch are lined with buildings, so you can smash people into the walls and you can kind of slingshot the ball off them. So yeah, what we're going to do is have a look through here, see what's different, see what's changed, and see how you play a game of Gutter Bowl. So without further ado, should we crack this open and see what you get inside? So first of all, if we take out the rules, we'll have a look at this in a second, but you get the full Blood Bowl Gutter Bowl supplement in here, but you also get everything that you need to play. So if we slide this out, you get two dugouts. Now like with most of the Blood Bowl kind of pictures, these are double-sided, with one side representing the sewers and one side representing the city streets that you might be fighting in. So that's pretty cool. And you also get a new Blood Bowl pitch. Now this is a standard sized Blood Bowl pitch. Let me open this up, I'll adjust the camera so you can see it. So let me just zoom that out a little bit so you can see that. So yeah, it's a standard sized Blood Bowl pitch, but what you will see is that big chunks of the pitch, or these big slots here, are taken up with, in this case, they are kind of stalls and stuff that's in the market, and some barricades, which makes the playing surface a lot smaller than it would be in a normal kind of full-size Blood Bowl game. On the reverse of it, we also get a sewer. So similar situation here, where the like the sewer tiles here take up a lot of the board. You can get knocked into them. You know, there's lots of fun stuff that can happen with that. So quite interesting that. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a smaller size board, and obviously it's only 7-a-side, so it still gives you enough room to kind of run around and stuff. But yeah, quite a lot of the board is taken up with those features, so that's pretty cool. So what we'll do is have a quick look at the rule book and see what has changed here. So like I say, it is a kind of Blood Bowl supplement, so you do need the core kind of Blood Bowl book in order to play this, but I'm sure most people watching it will have that anyway. Basically we go through kind of the history of Gutter Bowl. Essentially imagine a World Cup final going on in the pub, and the two teams in there maybe had a bit of a disagreement and took to the streets to sort it out, and yeah, carnage ensued. And since then Gutter Bowl became popular, and it kind of moved into the sewers and stuff as well. There's an alternate place for like skaven and goblins to play it. So yeah, pretty fun, pretty unique in that it's essentially a non-pro amateur kick around on the streets, which is pretty fun. So yeah, the book goes through kind of how to play this variant of the game. So we've got the pitch, which like I said is the same size, but the playing surface is smaller because of those kind of like stalls and the pits and all that kind of cool stuff. We mentioned the barriers in there as well. They do make a difference. We'll see that as we go through the rules. But yeah, games of Gutter Bowl. Basically, you've got a much smaller pool of gold to put together your team. 750 gold to be precise. You need 7 per side, so you don't need a massive Blood Bowl team. But one of the stipulations in here is that you can have no more than 5 non-linesmen on your roster at any time. So, you know, you only 5 kind of like specialists, if you want to say. It means that you're going to have to pick and choose who you want on your team. You can't just take like all the good players. So yeah, you're going to have at least 2 linesmen on your squad of 7 that's on the pitch. And yeah, basically this represents the fact that these are just like normal people playing. This is just like the common peasantry playing a game of Gutter Bowl. Then very, very unlikely going to be at the same physical prowess as the kind of main league Blood Bowl games. So there's no star players. There's, you know, you don't get much gold for winning a game. This is just a kick around on the streets, which again is really cool. It's got its own kind of like feel to it then. It's very unique. So we'll go through some of the kind of rules that makes this different from a normal Blood Bowl game. The game itself is shorter, so it only runs 6 turns per half, and again that represents the fact that these are just amateurs, so they can't run around the full kind of length of a normal Blood Bowl game because they'd be knackered. So the games are a little bit shorter to represent the fact that they haven't quite got as much stamina, and that does mean that you're going to have to, I guess, throw your guys forward a bit more carelessly because yeah, you want to score those touchdowns. So that's pretty fun. The other big change in games of Gutter Bowl as well is that there isn't a referee. So people can't get sent off. You can still only kind of foul once per turn. There's a game mechanic to not, I guess, cheese it. But that person's not going to get sent off, so they can foul away and not care about it. That makes secret weapons very, very good, because obviously they're not going to get sent off. The kind of balancing mechanic in here is that whenever you use a secret weapon, you roll a d6. On a 4+, you can continue using it. On a 1, 2 or 3, the random bits of crowd that have kind of gathered around the pitch will grab you, and there is a chance that they cause an injury as well if you roll a 1. So there is a bit of a gamble there, but they are a lot safer, which makes goblins, for example, very, very nasty in games of Gutter Bowl. So I think that's going to be quite fun. The other fun thing in here as well is the fans in games of Gutter Bowl want some action. This is kind of unbarred, very vicious Blood Bowl. People are going to be dying. There's no referee, so there shouldn't be any order. So if anybody is stalling, you roll the dice, and on a 2+, basically the crowd just kind of beats the heck out of them. So yeah, don't stall. You'll get the wrath of the crowd, and you will get hurt. Do foul, because they love that. And yeah, bring some secret weapons if you can, because it's going to be very brutal. So as you can see from this, the kind of game is shorter. You've got less guys. It's going to be more brutal. The games tend to be a bit quicker with this as well. So it's a nice little palate cleanser between, you know, say if you're playing in a big Blood Bowl league and you want a little one-off to have a bit of a change of pace, this is great for it. Equally, because you're not going to be playing this for hours and hours and hours, it's a nice one for a games night as well, for a one-off too. You can of course do leagues with this, but I feel that with the size of it, it works quite well as a kind of standalone game too. Now obviously with this having lots of obstacles, so you've got the various kind of buildings that are on the pitch, and the fact that you've got kind of walls running each side, there's a few different rules that come into play. So for example, if something hits the top of a kind of stand in the middle of the street, so the kind of market stalls and stuff, the ball will bounce off them. It will also bounce off the walls as well. Both the sewers and the cities have got walls along the side of the pitch. So what you can actually do is purposefully throw the ball towards the walls to kind of ricochet it off. So you see here, you can kind of like throw it that way and it'll bounce off like that, or kind of bounce it straight. So there's some fun stuff that you can do there. Obviously if it just kind of scatters, it will do that as well. So I think that's a fun little touch. Obviously those walls will hurt players as well if they're barged into them. So I think it's a 4+. Yeah, 4+, the player will fall over, so you can just kind of like elbow them into the wall and make them go down. So yeah, lots of brutal stuff that you can do with that, which is quite fun. Now we get different rules based on whether we're in the city streets or the sewers. In the sewers, things are a little bit different because you've got these big pits in the centre that are filled with like horrible sewage and all sorts of nasty monsters and things in there. So the ball can land in there, and whatever grisly beast is in there will eventually spit it out a random direction. But what you can also do is knock players into the sewers too, which sounds terribly unpleasant. But basically you roll off to see what happens to them. There's a chance that they kind of wallow in the sewer for a few turns because they can't get out. They might get spat out by a horrible monster that's in there, or if they're really, really unlucky, they'll drown in all that filth and they get dragged down to their death by some big horrible monster in there. So yeah, you want to be really careful if you're on a space that's next to the edge of the pit, because if you're unlucky, and let's face it, it's Blood Bowl, you're going to be unlucky, you're going to get knocked in there and then eaten by something never to be seen again. But then you're just a lowly gutter bowl player, so nobody cares. Those people will long be gone and easily replaced because life is cheap in games of gutter bowl. So I really, really like that. Now we have got barricades as well, so both types of pitch, the kind of city streets and the sewer, have got 2 barricades near the line of scrimmage, and basically these are used to kind of slow down and defend players. So cautiously going over a barricade takes you 2 points of movement as you kind of clamber over it. You can choose to just like vault over it, but you kind of do a go for it roll. So on a 1 you fall over, and again it's Blood Bowl, you're going to fall over. Equally though, people defending across a wall get to use that as a bit of cover, so they add 1 to the strength. So it means that kind of fighting on the line of scrimmage by those barricades is going to be harder to take people down, and it also means that you get some fun stuff like, you know, halflings and the like being able to hunker down and get a little bit more strength. And obviously kind of big tough players, it's going to be quite hard to tackle them across a barricade because you're more likely to roll skulls, as you're probably not rolling many dice if you're fighting across a barricade. So ideally you probably want to go around them, but again you're going to be quite thin only having 7 players. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see how people will gravitate towards those barricades, and any fast teams being able to run around them and attack people from the other side, you're probably going to get in a spot of bother. So quite like that too. Now again, for the streets and the sewers, each of them gets their own unique kick-off table and their own weather table as well, and this just tends to kind of sell the theme of the pitch, so that's quite nice. And again, having them both in this box with the book, and off the top of my head, this set is £35, which I think is a really good price for a expansion bundled with all the kind of the pitch and everything. I think that's pretty good, especially for a little mixing up the kind of games that you play and having some fun stuff in there. Now there's also some inducements in here. You can't have any of the normal ones because again you're not in the big leagues, you're not playing proper Blood Bowl, you're just playing on the streets, so you kind of got to go with what you can get. And what you can get is shady characters selling you potions. Now you're just taking their word that this potion's what they say, and really you've got no idea what it does. You can buy cheap ones for 50,000 gold, or you can buy more expensive ones for 100,000 gold. If you opt for the cheap ones, there's a very good chance that it's going to do more harm to the person that drinks it than your opponents. So for example, you basically you buy the potion blind, and then as you drink it you roll a d8 to see what it does. Some of them will be like, it's just water, it does nothing. But then there's some stuff like manticore venom, you immediately take a casualty roll because this poison has just instantly killed you as you drank it. So yeah, it is a bit of a gamble. Now equally, you've also got a 1 in each chance of getting one of the superior potions, which is actually a good potion that does something good. And there's a few different kind of positive ones as well. Warp Zone Whiskey is a nice one that gives you jump up and leap, for example. But these are very much a gamble. Obviously, if you don't care for your players, I'd go for it. But I'd probably save a little bit more and see if you can get one of the superior potions. which if we flip over for 100,000 gold. Oh, and it's worth saying here as well, in games of Gutter Bowl, your re-rolls cost 100,000 gold as well, so you're probably not going to have many re-rolls, so if there's a chance of you getting some kind of benefit through these potions, then it's worth taking the shot. And there's some nice ones in the superior potion tree as well. So for example, Potion of Strength gives you +1 strength and stand firm. Potion of Rage increases your strength by 2 and gives you frenzy and animal savagery. So there's some really, really good stuff, and you could gamble and take a 50,000 potion and hope that you roll that 8 on the chart, so you roll on this one. But equally, there's just as much chance that you'd roll a 1 and die horribly, so I think that's quite fun. There's a couple of other new inducements that you can have here too. So there's Sawbones, that are basically like untrained black market doctors who will just kind of like hack your guys back together if you need them. There's Snack Stands, which are really nice because they give you a bonus for rolling for knocked out players, and also if you do want to use one of your really expensive team re-rolls, you roll a dice and on a 6 you don't spend it, so that's worth buying. That's again expensive, 100,000 gold. And then there's Novice Wizards, who are like wizards but hilariously dangerous, who basically have a 1 in 3 chance of just hitting the nearest player rather than the intended target. So again, lots of chaos, lots of people are going to die. Yeah, it's going to be brutal. And again, your kind of normal like cheerleaders and apothecaries and stuff, you can't buy them because you're not a league. You're just like Jeff and his mates playing down a game of Gutter Bowl, you know, on Sunday night down in the town centre. So yeah, you don't have access to any of that stuff. So it's a very different kind of feel to the game because it is a lot more kind of painful, crunchy, people are going to die, but that's really fun again for a different kind of change of pace from vanilla Blood Bowl. You've got your normal kind of like post-match sequences too. You get far less gold in a game of Gutter Bowl because, let's face it, you're not getting much money. You're basically getting the loose change that's being found on the pitch after the match. Equally though, there's some cool rules for having your players that advance and actually get good kind of join a Blood Bowl team proper and then leave your little kind of like 5-a-side friendly team and go off and play the proper game. So that's quite fun as well. So yeah, Gutter Bowl looks really, really fun. I'm looking forward to playing some games with it and causing some carnage. I think goblins will be really, really good at it, but yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of mess at the end of the game after they play a game of Gutter Bowl 2. So before we go, just want to have a look at the 2 new teams that are also up for pre-order today as well. GW also sent us these over to have a look at, and I know a lot of people have been really excited for some new Blood Bowl teams to come along, and technically we do, but unfortunately they are the old models. So we'll have a look at the Old World Alliance first, and essentially this is the humans, the dwarfs and the halfling kits. So we've seen these before. I don't think there's a new sheet. Oh yes, there is. There is a new Old World Alliance sheet. I think these have been released in the past. These are reboxed for the new edition of the game. So you've got all your guys on there, including the ogre and the dwarf troll slayer as well. So you have got your positionals on the transfer sheet. But yeah, it's basically just a collection of the sprues from the kit. So you've got your halflings on their little kind of mini sprue that they came on. You've got your dwarfs. Again, these were one of the first kits to come out, I think, for the new Blood Bowl. And then the humans were the very first team. They were in the original box. So older sculptures. It's a bit of a shame they didn't do a new sprue for these, but I suppose you've got so many different positionals across them, I guess it was not going to happen. So that is them. And then the other team, similar, it is the Underworld Denizens. This is made up of Skaven and Goblins, and again in here you'll get sprues for each of them. So we get the Skaven sprue. Again, this was like, again, I think the 2nd or 3rd team that came out for the original run of the new version of Blood Bowl. And then you've got the Goblins as well. You've got a couple of frames of them, and they came out a little bit kind of after them too. And again, they do have a transfer sheet. I don't know if it's a new one. Let me have a look. Yes, we do. Underworlds Denizens transfer sheet. And again, 2020, I think these have been released in the past, but they're just kind of reboxed for the new edition of the game. So if you did want these teams, you can pick up now, which is cool. But yeah, that was a look at Gutter Bowl and the new teams that have been released alongside it. I really hope that we see some new teams for Blood Bowl in the future. Khemri, Chaos Dwarves are all obvious choices for teams that people would like to see. I'm really happy with Gutter Bowl though. It looks really fun as a little kind of standalone game and a bit of a change of pace. So yeah, it's definitely one that's going to be added to my list of games to play on a games night. But yeah, that was our review. If you've enjoyed it, we do lots of videos like this, unboxings and reviews on the YouTube channel. So give us a follow if you've enjoyed that. We've also got a full write-up for this over on spruesandbrews.com as well, so check that out if you're a fan of Age of Sigmar. We've also got the General's Handbook and the new Dawnbringer boxes to unbox, and we've got the new Dawnbringer book that we've reviewed over on the website too. If you do want to support us, we do have an affiliate link for Element Games in the description as well. If you use that, it helps support the site, gives us a little bit of a kickback that helps go towards the running costs of the website and all that. So, hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you soon and hopefully get some games of Gutter Bowl on the channel too very soon.